Hey, what's up, traders? I hope you guys had a great weekend and you're off to a good start this week. I know the first 2 days weren't the best when you look at the daily chart. We'll look at it here in a minute. But today, awesome. We're gonna talk about it because there's something that I went over this morning, and if you guys weren't in the live stream, um, or you had to miss it this morning, you'll be able to kind of catch up on what I was talking about. But what we typically do first, we always start out with the daily chart first. And what we're doing is we're looking for the daily pivots. Now, we've marked all of these, so we don't have to go back and look because we've already done these. And these show up every day. Thinkorswim saves them. And so all I use Thinkorswim for is charting. And you can see Monday, Tuesday. We had a gap up on Monday, but it didn't hold it that well. It didn't run. We kind of got up to this daily pivot before we sold back off. Kind of the same thing yesterday. We made a lower high, but a higher low. Kind of an inside day, more indecision. And then today, we opened up at 6 o'clock yesterday with a gap down, and we've kind of been losing it all day, especially when Powell got on the horn. When he was talking, that really woke us up. So that kind of goes into what we were talking about today. So, what I typically do in the morning, and as you guys know, I do trade all through the night, especially when there's an opportunity. So let's go back. Let's look at this is where we opened up. Here was the big gap down, and I bought the bounce. It ran up, started to come back, so I closed it, waited for this candle, and then I tried to buy the bounce again. Ended up closing it out and just kind of waited for it to get up here, so I was able to I'm sorry, I bought here. This is where I took it off the second time. So the first trade I got in and just kind of killed it. The second trade I bought it and it made it to the top of this pivot. So I didn't really mess with it anymore until right here around 1:30ish or so. Well, no, around 11:30ish. I got in, I shorted it, covered some here, shorted it again.
3 p.m. market update.
Covered some
major
here,
indexes in the red.
and then covered the
500 down
rest here, and then
2.7%
bought
to
on the bounce off of this.
5,250.68. Dow Jones
But I made a
Industrial Average
mistake,
down
and
722 points, down 1.79% to
for my first target, I put the whole
39,646.76.
order
And the
out.
Nasdaq Composite down
So it
332
didn't
points,
split it. And after that, I
2.01%,
was like, well, it's after 2 o'clock. I can go to
16,767.22.
bed, get
Gold
some sleep.
continuing in
And
record
so, of
territory,
course, this happens
up
at 4:30. I missed this.
3.53% today to
So I missed all of that.
$3,354.80
So
an
when I
ounce.
wake up in
And
the
crude
morning,
oil at the high of the day,
what I'm looking
up
for,
2.1%
where is this
to
thing trading? Again,
$62.62
what daily
a
pivots
barrel.
are we trading
That
at?
is your market update
And you
with
can
1
see
hour to the close here on this Wednesday.
this price action respects these daily pivots. Here, once we lose them, we typically try to get to the next. But you see, we had a trend
CDT Conduit Pharmaceuticals
kind of brewing here, which is why this kind of
trading
stopped
lower after the company announced the appointment of a new CEO,
and
down
bounced off of this.
to 80 cents a share.
But
Charlie Delta Tango.
what I do is identify an area on the chart that I call no man's land or the kill zone. This is where most traders lose their money. When I talk to, a lot of you guys, you're telling me you just getting chopped out and everything. You feel like you're making good trades, but you keep getting chopped out with the volatility. And a lot of times it's because you're trading inside what I call the kill zone or no man's land. And what I look at is I look at if we're trading around a lot of support and resistance, which we have here, and it just kind of goes sideways, then I'm going to have a nice little kill zone or no man's land. So here, this is the top of the trading. I could have put it up here because I usually mark the high and the low, the higher pre-market and the lower pre-market. But because this will be a nice window
NVDA,
if I
that's
bought the
NVIDIA.
break here, I was
Continues to
okay
trend
with
down
putting
right
it
near
here.
the low of the day, down
And then
9.72% to
the
$101
bottom was going to
and
be
30
right
cents
here
a
on this
share.
daily pivot.
Shares are moving lower after the company
Well,
said it was
what
recently informed
happens,
by the
I
U.S.
wait
government that
until
it
the
will need
5-minute
a license
candle
to
prints,
export chips
which
to
is this
China.
candle here.
That is
This is the
November,
high, this is
Victor,
the low,
Delta, Alpha.
solid green line, solid red line. So I put the bottom of no man's land right here on the 5-minute opening range low. So it's going to be different every day. You're going to have to analyze the chart every day to establish where you do not need to trade. Okay? Because you'll get chopped out trying to get these big moves. So that's what this is. This is no man's land. All right, hold on. And really, it stretches all the way out here. It just goes. It doesn't end, it just goes. For some reason my mouse is messing up. But you can see all through here. So here this is where I ended up. I can't remember what I did here, but this was a loss. All right, but this was pre-market. All right, this was before I drew the kill zone. I think this was a trade I was still in from back here. I had to go back and look, but I can't remember. But this is where I was trading pre-market. This is where I was trading like overnight. So we wait, and I don't take a trade until we break out under no man's land. So I take this trade. I take it off here. I take some off here at where the trend line is. I take some off here because I'm assuming that's if we're gonna bounce, we're gonna try to bounce here. I did, and then I took some more off, and then I went to try and short it here. Instead of waiting for it to get under the trend line, I turned around and tried to short it here, but then had to stop out. And then here again, I think this is where I stopped out. And then I sold some here, bought and sold some here, all through here. Then I accidentally flipped it short here. I wasn't going to trade there, but it worked out. So, that was good. And in here is where, and I marked this because this is where I should not have taken a trade. Look at this price action here. I know we're under and we're out of the kill zone. Look at this price action here. I mean, I should not have taken a trade in here. But I did good. I made money here, on this candle. But the real money came once we lost this trend. And this is when Powell started talking. So, waiting, if I had not fooled around here and just waited for this, could have easily had $1,000 day versus a $700 day. Because I gave back, again, some of these little trades that I shouldn't have traded in no man's land, in the kill zone. I got popped and chopped, and I gave back a couple $100 in profit. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Here, I think this was the last bid I got out of. This thing is still selling off, coming all the way down to the next daily pivot. Really, really nice. And these days, you don't get these days every day of the week. But when we do get them, we want to take advantage of them. And, not trading inside the kill zone, waiting until we get these opportunities and we can, go on about our business. But that's what we talked about today, is knowing when you should not trade, knowing how to identify these kill zones so that we don't get stuck in this, trying to trade. And that was it today. But you guys, again, Take Profit Trader, I know they're having some issues with customer service because they grew exponentially, faster than they anticipated. So they're in the process of training more customer service people so they could get caught up on that. But the one thing, through all of this, the one thing that hasn't wavered has been the payouts. You would expect a company going through big growth to, maybe have a problem with, getting their payouts done and all that. That's their priority. So they're making sure people get their payouts on time. So just to kind of show you, I don't know if this is going to be big enough. I don't know if you can see it or not. Oh yeah, there you go. All right, so I did my payout on Friday, on the 11th. I requested it. I requested it at 7:30. Let me show you this. I requested it at 7:30. Here we go, withdraw. Okay, 7:31:27 on 4/11. Okay, look at that time. I get my approval. Okay, remember that time, 7:31 on 4/11. I get my approval at 9:32 on April 11th. So less than 2 hours it took for them to approve it. Okay. And then I get the email saying that it has been processed and it's on the way to my account. And look at the timestamp on this. You can look at the timestamp on this. 10:37. Just over an hour after I got the approval. By 12:30, the money was in my account. So it could have come earlier. But I looked at my account at 12:30 on Friday and the money was there. They have not missed a beat. They're still number one in my book. They're working very, very hard on getting their customer service together, getting all of this stuff back in order and back on track. Hiring new people, and they still have the 30% off no fee deal where you do not pay when you convert your account to pro or profit paying account. That saves you $130. So that deal is still on. It's a really good deal. Just use code AJT66. I would, like me, I stockpiled a few. So, if I have to start over or I mess up one of my pro accounts, I can, I've got test accounts that I passed. I can just convert them, don't have to pay a dime, and get back to work. I'm not missing a beat. You can do that. That's why they have it set up that way. So take advantage of it while it's still live. Again, it Take Profit Trader. The code is AJT66. And you will not go wrong. And still, I don't sell memberships anymore or anything. But if you get 5 Take Profit Trader accounts, doesn't matter what size, you get 5, let me know, and you want to come in and check out what we do, you're in. That's all you got to do to get in. But it doesn't make sense for people that aren't doing what I'm doing, working with what I'm working with, to come in. It just doesn't make sense, because all of these guys have different, all of these prop firms have different rules. You trade them different, you manage them different. So a lot of times it just wouldn't make sense. It doesn't translate if we're not trading in the same prop firm and we're not using, trading under the same rules. So that's it for me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Tomorrow is the last day of the week, the Easter holiday. So if you celebrate it, happy Easter and all that good stuff. But I think Friday is Good Friday. So once the market closes at 5 on Thursday, that's it until 8 o'clock Sunday. 6 o'clock Sunday. And we'll be back on track. So take it easy, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the jungle.